Tonight on the Reno Show, we get to work with room 2. Then we transform a vintage lamp from dull to beautiful. I show you the many ways you can declutter your wardrobe, and Chloe joins us to talk about Macho Ferns. In all my years of renovating and over 100 properties, I've never quite seen anything like this. This room is quite visually disturbing and also in really bad condition. The floor falls away, the skirts are coming off the walls, there's gyprock on some walls over the render, there's render missing, there's holes through the walls into the hallway, electrical wiring is hanging everywhere. The window actually doesn't even have a frame around it, so it is a flapping pane of glass. And if I'm truly honest with you, I spent some time yesterday just reading the walls and the stories of the children that have written on these walls, and it's quite distressing. Up and in the back of the truck, we're going to crack open the front of that house. Floors are done. They look awesome.
Floors are done.
Are you happy with them?
We are very happy with them. They're level.
They're level and you don't fall through them. Let's face it, if I didn't batten these walls out now, I would have painted them, patched them, I would have tried to hang something on them, and now we know they actually would have fallen to pieces. Man, I love a freshly gyprock room. Do you know what? It's been around so long. Like, my dad's dad used it, my dad used it, I use it. You just can't go past it. Love it. I'm so excited that we are up to the stage of all of the beautiful trims going in. You guys know I am a fan, where possible, about really considering the environment. So the fact that I get to install FSC certified real timber trims is just such a treat. So Regan, this is an art, realistically. I am not the best at mitering corners in any way, shape or form, so I'm purely a labourer in this process. So remember, if you didn't catch room 1, that each of those panels is 100 mil off the skirt, down from the chair, and 100 mil apart from one another. And then the sizes of the rectangles vary between 600 and 700, depending on how many panels we need to fit into the wall. we do this on all of the surfaces and then we do the gapping. Remember the top tip though, always gap after you've primed and then sand again. Dan and I have chosen to spray this room as well. With this beautiful paneling in here, it does make it quicker, easier, and the finish is amazing. In saying that though, we are returning to old-fashioned paintbrush when it comes to the enamels on all of the trims, including the skirt, the chair rail, and the picture rails. Now that the wallpaper is up, it's time to lay the new vinyl floor.
Rapid Renomate is the perfect renovator's companion for fast-tracking all your home projects, helping you renovate with ease and enjoyment. It's the new, smarter way to renovate. You'll be able to collate all your reno data, select all your products in one place, find your nearest suppliers, build and track your budget, get access to exclusive member offers, and manage your worksite and trades 24/7, all from your mobile phone. It's never been easier to start your personal or professional renovation. Rapid Renomate is free to download from the App Store and Google Play now.
What an absolutely glamorous lamp that is. It would fit in perfectly in my parents' house when I was growing up. We even had peach or apricot skirting boards and architraves. This would have been an absolute treat. However, we are not in the 80s anymore, and it is time for me to give this beautiful lady a fresh makeover. Her shape is glamorous, the shade is so elegant. So I'm going to start with some kid gloves by taking the lamp apart and moving the shade to an area where I know it's not going to get crushed or hit or smashed. First things first, let's give these beautiful bases a really good clean down. The ceramic on these was actually in great condition, so all I needed to do was cover up the electric components at the top by simply winding some plastic, some cling film, or even some aluminium foil that you wrap your sandwiches in around the top, just so that we make sure we're not getting any sticky paint or primer on those surfaces. The next is to give it an undercoat or a primer in something that we know is going to not only stick to the ceramic base, but is also going to be a perfect receiver for the feature coat that I want to pop on top. So for this, I'm using a bin aerosol primer. It is made by Zinza and it sticks to anything, and undercoat done on number 1 and she is looking amazing. It is time for number 2 to get exactly the same treatment. Whenever you are spraying, make sure you do wear your PPE, so your personal protective equipment. So when I'm spraying, I love wearing my mask to keep my lungs safe and also glasses. Now, ideally there would be low wind and ideally you would be in a spray booth, but that doesn't often happen for many of us. So I do like to concoct my own makeshift spray booths every now and then. A big sheet of cardboard to block out any gusty winds can often do the trick. When you're spray painting, make sure that you're not doing a windscreen wiper action. Instead, make sure you're doing straight sweeps across the item that you're spray painting to a lighter. Always start with a really light coat first, because it's much easier to go over again and again than it is to try and get some of this paint off. Now, it's been a little bit of time between the undercoat and me getting a chance to do these top coats, which means they're a bit dusty and they're a bit dirty. So I'm going to give them a really good wipe down to make sure that my top coat is as great as it can be. For this top coat, I've gone for a very deep, bold grey with a little bit of a blue undertone. And you can tell when you're watching me spray paint this that it's so essential when you're spray painting something with so many creases and curves and rolls and rims that you do look at it from every single angle to make sure that you have every piece covered. Let's see what Denise thinks. Cute, huh?
That's really cute.
It's really sweet.
Oh, it's so much better than the white. For some reason I thought it was staying white.
No, that was just the etching primer. So it had a bin etching primer. And then this is actually a standard Colorbond colour called Basalt. So it comes in a quick dry.
That's really nice.
So it's going to have
Glossy.
It is.
Glossy.
It's going to have this pastel pink and the white pom-poms, just for a bit of contrast.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Some bulbs.
Bases are done and it is time to give this shade a makeover. I'm looking to cover this in a very, very sheer and delicate floral. I'm going to be needing to use a pile of pins, and to start this off, I'm going to simply roll over the top of the cut edge of the fabric and secure it with a pin. To make sure you get an even distribution of these gorgeous little pinch pleats all around, I like to do it a quarter at a time. Once I secured the top edge with pins, I simply hand sewed that with a standard needle and thread. There's nothing special about what you need to use here. You could also use a hot glue gun to do that, but I find a needle and thread just has less weight to it, it's less messy, and it's really simple. And then all you need to do is press repeat. Follow the line of the pleat all the way down to the bottom edge of the shade, sew that in place, and then cut off the excess. Now for the fun part, I get to attach the trims, the bells and the whistles, or pom-poms in this case. So along the base and the top of this lampshade, I'm attaching an absolutely gorgeous white pom-pom braid. So as you can see here, there's a freshness and a bit of frivolity, which really lifts the traditional floral that I've placed on top of the shade. To secure this, it is as simple as using a hot glue gun. And there you go. She was completely worth the investment in time, energy, and love. Apricot no more. As Denise would say, classy, classy, classy. A beautiful lamp makeover that anyone could do. If someone is thinking about replicating the French door and internal French aluminium screen doors with Invisigard that I've done in room 1 and room 2, before you go about doing that, you need to think about a couple of things in your space. So you need to think about how you want your space to work. So how do you want people to enter and flow? Which way do you want your doors to move? And how will that impact on how you can use the space and furnish the space? The next thing you need to think about is naturally the privacy that you're after, the security that you're after, and how often you want to be using these doors. And the third thing that you always need to think about up front is how you're going to integrate them into the room. So you'll notice in this room and in the first room, I've used color, I've used textures, and I've used fabrics to make sure that the beautiful Invisigard screen doors that are fitted internally are actually really integrated and really softened into the room. That is enough work on site for today. So tomorrow we will be back to finish the finer details and all of the styling transformation. is done. Are you ready to come and take a look? I don't really know where to begin with how I feel about this room. It's been quite an emotional journey. This room was, you know, it was definitely super stressed, or there was some, it's quite humbling to look around and see the way the house has accepted what I've wanted to gift it. You know, these walls used to be adorned with such horror, and now they are just shining and fresh, and they've been really welcoming to the treatments that I've wanted to apply. There's a couple of key things I love in this space from a functionality perspective, and they're really similar to the things that I loved about room 1, and that is the front doors. Without doubt, the amount of ventilation, security and privacy that these InvisiGuard French doors give me is out of control. I specifically love the fact that I was able to customize the color of the handles. So no longer do these doors look like they belong on the outside or on a garage or in an outdoor area. They fit perfectly into this really, really elegant bedroom space. And while we're on the door front, holy dooly. Not only do I love the profiles of the Hume door that I've used in this bedroom, but the color. It is absolutely gorgeous. The Rendezvous colour from Bristol has come up an absolute treat. When I look around the room for the first time probably in my life, I'm actually a bit stuck for words. It's really comforting in here. It's really nurturing. And I think part of that are the layers that we have. We have beautiful, near realistic timber looking vinyl planks on the floor. You all know I'm a tomboy, and you all know that I'm super clumsy, and so the fact that these have a specific surface treatment that makes them super easy to clean, and they're low VOC, which is great for allergies, especially for a bedroom. As I move up from the floor, I get absolutely blown away at the details in the trims and the timber work in this room. So the skirting boards and the wainscot paneling and the chair rail, and naturally I love the functionality of the picture rails. It means no holes ever in the beautiful wallpaper that adorns the walls. When I was styling the room, there were quite a few different layouts I could have gone with, but this one is definitely a winner for me. It allows for maximum view of the bed when you enter through the door, and it also allows for beautiful cross ventilation across from it. My biggest challenge renovating this room, without doubt, would have been battening out to put brand new gyprock on all these walls. There wasn't a batten or a screw that stuck first time. It was really, really a challenge. So that would, without doubt, have to be the biggest challenge of this room. My favorite part of this room, I think I'm going to have to say in this room, my favorite part is the wainscoting, the paneling, and all of the trim work. It definitely from a visual perspective, whatever happened in this room previously and whatever it looked like before, it is a distant memory. This is now a dreamy, nurturing, layered, and quite elegant space. What was the hardest part for me to do in this space? I think the most challenging part for me to personally do was to get the curtain rail to stay in place. Because the bricks underneath the gyprock are so fragile, it was a real challenge. So that was a massive challenge for me. The easiest part here for me was certainly the French doors from Hume and the InvisiGuard screens from Ulspect. And the reason that is that they're all custom. So it was perfect. It was a hands-off experience for me. They came, they measured, they made, they fitted. Dream. What would I do differently? Well, if I had my time over again, I would have loved to have the front facade of the house done first, because it certainly was a challenge keeping the crud and muck and damage to the room as it was being renovated down when out there was such a mess. So without doubt, that would be something I would have done differently if I had more control over that. Well, I think that is a wrap for room 2. I must admit, I'm pumped. It's come up beautifully, and I've chosen all elements that are well wearing and are quite classic. So not only will it stand the test of time in regard to the products I've used in here, but from a style perspective, this room is going to be fit for purpose and beautiful for at least a couple of decades. So I'm here today with Lukey from Get Sorted. And oh my gosh, Lukey, thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here.
And thank you for completely throwing yourself into that massive wardrobe makeover that we have on this episode. It's mammoth.
It was pretty big. It was a big start, but look, within 3 or 4 hours, we've got it as a completely functioning wardrobe and looking quite pretty.
So when you approach something like that though, most people would literally throw their tools down, their hands in the air, and they'd say, I'm out. So how do you overcome that starting factor? Like when you walked into that, what was the first thing you knew you needed to do?
I knew I had to get everything out of there to start with and
Okay.
restack completely. So I've now put some baskets in there, which, you know, outlay of $70.
That's nothing really.
Is nothing really, and it's completely transformed
Well,
that
see,
space.
I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's
Now,
amazing.
so then for anyone who's wanting to, because I'm sure once everyone sees the transformation, I'm betting people are going to be going, I need to make over my wardrobe this weekend.
Yes.
So what would be 3 things that you would suggest after getting everything out, literally removing it all?
Strip it
what would
bare.
be 3 things that you'd tell people to do?
Okay, so all the storage solutions in the world are fantastic, but you need to declutter to start with. So you need to get rid of anything that doesn't make you feel good, that doesn't fit, and that's looking a little tired.
Do you mean there's no, I'll get into those next season?
No, well, it just means that every time you look at those clothes, it doesn't make you happy.
Feel crappy.
You feel a bit rubbish, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so
those.
get rid of anything that doesn't fit, that doesn't make you feel good, that you maybe haven't worn in 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, what's the next thing?
Next would be to put everything into categories.
Okay.
So that will help you further declutter. So if you find that you have 18 long sleeve black tops, you realise that you have not got rid of enough.
Has she been in my wardrobe? Maybe. Okay.
I'm talking about my own too.
Oh, good.
honestly.
You can never have enough black tops, right?
No, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so if you've got piles of identical clothes that are the same size, you probably need to have a good hard look at yourself.
I think so.
Okay, and what about the third one?
Well, think about who you're giving it to as well. So that is going
point.
to make somebody else's life better.
I like it.
When I, as part of the service, I take everything away that is no longer required, and I have a few charities that I donate to.
That's fantastic. So people, you not only make it better, you take all of the stuff away to make someone else's life better.
That's right.
That's
Exactly
actually
right.
beautiful, Lukey.
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right, so once I see this wardrobe and once we show the client this wardrobe and they're like beyond excited, how are they going to keep it like that?
It's a little bit addictive. Once you see your
Bit like
best
chocolate.
self, bit like chocolate.
Yes.
You're then wanting to imagine your best self going forward. So you see that that organised space and think, yes, I can be organised like this as well. And you will generally keep it that way.
Is it kind of like you've ripped the Band-Aid off for people?
Yeah.
So you've ripped the Band-Aid off and taken them back to a starting point that's manageable.
That's right. Yeah. And it just takes that one step, which a lot of people can do themselves, but will get me into to just let them take that first step.
And I guess part of that is not only that they don't have the time, some people, but it
right.
might also be that they don't have the headspace. Like they don't have the clarity to undertake, like literally the client's entire probably past 8 or 9 years of her life has been in that wardrobe.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing to tackle.
It is, and she won't want to go back to the way it was now that she sees it this way. So that'll help her keep things tidy.
I wonder what else it could transform in her life. Well, can you go and show me? I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's go. Lukey, I'm for the first time in my life, I'm actually a little speechless. Like, this transformation is epic.
Well, thank you. Yes, it was rather, but a few short hours and it's done.
And look at this. Who would have thought of this? Horizontal folding and stacking.
Yes.
So you can see everything. You don't mess up the top thing when you pull the bottom thing out.
That's right.
If the client is half as tongue-tied about this as I am, they're going to be blown away.
I'm so pleased. Well, the client can actually come in and shop their own wardrobe now.
It's going to be an
See what they've
exciting
got.
time. Shopping with no spend.
That's right.
I love it. Thank you, Lukey.
My pleasure.
Chloe, what do we have with us today? I feel like this plant's like wanting to hug me. What's going on?
This is a Macho Fern.
As in macho, as in like
That's right.
macho.
But it's pretty delicate.
Oh, what are you doing to me? So it's called a Macho Fern, but it doesn't mean I can smash it.
That's
I still
right.
need to love it.
You do.
And it's something beautiful about, look how long these tendrils are.
They are very, very big, and they do just kind of branch out and get even bigger. So these ones will come up and become a massive...
So it's kind of like an umbrella canopy kind of thing.
It is.
And so tell me a bit about this. This isn't your standard type of fern. I've actually never ever seen one of these before.
No, so it's a little bit different to your standard Boston fern.
Yes.
It will grow bigger. It's got bigger leaves, but same environment. So you don't want it in bright sun, hot sun.
So it could be hanging outdoors as long as it's covered, no direct sun.
That's right. Under a pergola would be perfect. Under a veranda, and
Perfect.
even indoors.
Indoors.
Indoors
Over
or
a bath.
Perfect.
Okay. What about keeping it moist? Does this need to be kept moist like most ferns do?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Now, I did notice last night it was a bit chilly before we shot today. So these guys don't like frost.
No, it must have gotten a little bit frosty last night, and there are frost damaged edges now.
So let's talk a bit about that. So obviously to avoid frost with some of your delicate plants, so 1 degree and below,
Yeah.
we could bring them inside. Now I remember my granddad teaching me that you could actually lay newspaper over your plants to stop like a blanket.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Would that work?
Yeah, definitely.
There you go. Good old granddad. So we could have, if this was not hanging, we could have laid some newspaper over it as a blanket to keep it warm and
definitely.
stop the frost settling on it.
It depends how low it goes. I don't
Yep.
know if it was dropping like 4, 5. Yeah, then it might not. But bringing them indoors certainly will prevent that.
Fantastic. So that's for all of your delicate kind of tropical plants.
Yeah.
When you get really, really cold, bring them in just overnight.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Well, I might just, go have a little bit of a hug with my new friend, my Macho Fern.